सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं। शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वासुदेवेन्द्रयोगीन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते। Yes, we saw last time about the definition when the teacher said Atma kaha, Atma Satyam Anyat Mithya. Atma is a Satya and everything else is Mithya. And we saw this Satya and Mithya. Actually, there is no Vastu called Satyam and there is no Vastu called Mithya. The word Satya and Mithya reveals your understanding about the reality of a Vastu. There is a pot, there is a mobile, there is a computer, there is a house, there is a car, there is a road, etc. But then, there is nothing called Satyam, much less there is something called Mithya. This Satya and Mithya reveals your understanding about the reality of pot, reality of mobile, reality of car, reality of house, reality of the whole Jagat. So the world is Mithya means that the reality is Mithya. I am not denying the very existence of Jagat. I am just saying in terms of reality, it is Mithya. Like when you say Bengal is Mithya with reference to truth of go, it's truth. I'm not denying the very existence of the Bengal. Bengal is, and that's all you wear. Though I say Bengal is Mithya and gold is Satyam, when you want to wear something on the hand, it's not going to be the gold. It's going to be the Bengal. So, I'm not denying the purposefulness of the Vastu, neither I'm denying the existence of the Vastu. What I'm saying is the reality is Mithya. What is the Mithya? That which exists because of some borrowed existence. That which is not on its own. The isness belongs to something else. That it shines or is able to do something else, some function that is dependent on something else is called Mithya. Then the question comes, what is the self which you are talking as Satyam? Then there was a long definition. Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatiriktaha Panchakosha Titaha Avasthatraya Sakshi Sachidananda Swarupasan Yastishtati Sa Atma. Okay. So, why this is to be told? Vyatiriktaha, Anyaha, Atitaha, Sakshi. Because there is a confusion, there is a mistake, and this mistake is inevitable. Why it is inevitable? Because all of us are born ignorant. And not only born ignorant, there is a self-consciousness. There is a self-awareness. And that self-awareness is so complete that there is all possibility of taking myself to be what I am not. As I said, this possibility is not there in case of animals. Their self-awareness is so limited The self-consciousness is as though so limited, they are conscious only to the extent of their survival, that food, shelter, and security, nothing else. But then, in case of human being, there is a self-mistake, there is a self-error, and this is a universal mistake. It is a universal error, and it is a, you can say, uniform error. As Swamiji would say, since it's a universal mistake, all of us can get passed by because all are sailing in the same boat. Otherwise, it is a mistake. It's an error. Now, what's an error? The self-mistake is the body-mind complex is, as we know, is taken as I, and their nature, their limitations are superimposed on I. Body is mortal, I is taken to be mortal. Body is at a given place, the I is considered to be living at a given place. The body is the human body, not any other body. So that also is considered that I am limited as a human being only. Now, this universal mistake, since it is a mistake, we need to inquire into it. We need to see what it is and what it is not. And then only when we see that, we can understand this sentence, Atma Satyam. As we saw last time, Atma means I. I am Satyam. That I Satyam can be understood when the mistake is analyzed. In other words, when the confusion is resolved. The resolution of the confusion is the methodology of teaching. There are, as we said, various methods of analysis called prakriyas. They are employed in teaching to resolve these confusions, to make a proper inquiry and thereby understand the truth. And of that, three prakriyas are talked about here. Shariratraya prakriya, Panchakosha prakriya, and Avasthatraya prakriya. Means what? Shariratraya prakriya, Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatirikta. Means recognizing myself independent of these three bodies. Panchakosha means bodies, these three bodies is divided into five koshas. That means there is a 5 layers of mistake about the self. And Avasthatraya means there is an analysis about the 3 states of experiences to know the self. Shariratraya prakriya we saw in detail last time in that this two is gross body, subtle body, and the causal body. I take myself to be human being. That's an identification with the gross body. Take myself to be Sukhi, Dukhi, etc. Subtle body, take myself to be ignorant. And we also saw this Panchakosha. In this Panchakosha methodology, all these 3 bodies are looked upon as covering. What covering? Covering the human experiences. They seem to cover the self. And then, please understand again, though we call them kosha, kosha means the sheaths, kosha means the covering, and people think that it is really covered, but it is not true. If Atma or I am really covered, then I have to really remove all the sheaths one by one, like you remove the peel of a fruit, and then remove certain aspects and then eat the fruit. Like that is we have to do. So it is not true. In fact, Atma being Satyam, self is Satyam, everything else is Mithya, koshas are also Mithya. How can Mithya cover the Satya? It is like saying wave covers the water. It is like saying the ornament covers the gold. Okay? In fact, as we said last time, Atma is something which can never ever be hidden because it is self-revealing truth. self-existent, self-revealing truth. It cannot be covered. It is always present, always evident. You just cannot miss anything. You cannot miss it. In fact, you miss something also, it is because of that Atma. And you recognize something, it is also because of that Atma. But then, all that is possible, you cannot miss the self-evident Atma. It is possible because ignorance makes it possible. So they are called covering, not in a real sense that it covers. They are called covering because the self is taken to be that. When the self is taken as body, we can say the body as though covers. Atma, self is covered by prana. Why? Because I take myself as though as prana. In fact, my vision is covered. In the Shastric language, it is my buddhi which is covered. Buddhi is the one which draws conclusion about everything. Buddhi is a seat of knowledge. That seat of knowledge is as though covered. Limitless Atma gets covered by buddhi. How? By vision. As I said, it covers my vision. When I was young in the school, primary schools, we studied a beautiful poem. It's a very famous poem in Gujarati. I'll just repeat the poetry. Say the poem and tell you the meaning. Tarna othe dungar, dungar koi dekhe. Tarna means a blade of grass. He says there is a whole mountain behind the blade of grass. And people see the blade but don't see the mountain. Why? There is a problem in the vision. Not the mountain is covered by the blade of grass. So also this is covered, Panchakosha, as though covers, whereas I am Panchakosha Atitaha. At every level that I take myself to be, which I am not, and that is why Panchakosha Atitaha. Another prakriya is, and the self is analyzed from 3 states of experiences. I every day undergo these different states of experiences of waking, dream, and sleep state. The question is, am I a waker or am I distinct from the waker? Am I a dreamer or am I distinct from the dreamer? Am I a one who sleeps, sleeper, or am I distinct from this? So, is the self free from all these states and attributes thereof, or is it one? Answer is given, Sakshi. It is a witness to all the 3 states of experiences, implying that I am different, distinct from waker, etc. It is analyzed. It is said this way, then what is a self? And why have they been talking like this? It says, Atma Sat Chit Ananda Swarupaha. Atma means I. I am of the nature of Satchidananda. These words which reveal the Vastu, which define the Vastu, should be so precise that it should reveal that only and negate all other Vastus. It should not be inclusive of something which it is not, and it should reveal the distinction of a given Vastu from all other Vastus. Like even when I say I have a pen, suppose I have only 3 pens, one is different pens are there, colors. When I say give me the black pen, that implies neither red pen nor the white pen, and the pen implies only the pen I want, nothing else. If I say give me that black, it can be the piece of cloth, or it can be the mobile cover and the mobile, whatever it can be. But when I say give me black pen, these 2 words reveal the one and the only that object distinct from others. So also by this word Satchidananda, it reveals the self. While revealing the self, it negates that what the self is not. When I say pen, when I say black, the pen word negates any other object which can be black, and the word black negates all other pens which are not black in color. So, negating what it is not and revealing what it is, that is the definition. Definition, any definition does two things. First, negating what it is not, and precisely, specifically revealing what it is. Like even it has to be specific as well. I can't say crow, the blackbird is crow. There are so many blackbirds. The cuckoo is also black. Other birds also can be black, but it has to be precise. It should exclude all everything what it is not and reveal what it is. Here also, Satchidananda reveals two things, what I am not, and it reveals what I am. And there's a problem people have. How can I be Satchidananda? How can I be one with Jagat Karanam Brahma? How can I be one with Ishvara? All these questions are there because they have not understood what I am not. So we need to, only when we understand what I am not, these words Satchidananda becomes more meaningful in revealing exactly what I am. Okay? So when there is an opposition or when there is a conflict in the mind, when there is a question that how can I be, it implies two things. Either I have not understood what I am not, or I have not understood what I can be. So, this first of all, these words negate. Now look at this. How we negate by these words? Look at this. We said last time, as an individual, I find myself to be an experiencer. All the time, I find myself to be a knower. I find myself to be a conscious person, knowing the world. Even in waking or dream or deep sleep, there is a constant knower, knower, knower. There is a constant experiencer, I, who experiences different things. So there are three things are there: the experiencer, the object that is experienced, and the experience per se. That means, in other words, there is I find myself as the knower. There are few objects, a few things which I know, and the contact between the knower and the known gives rise to knowledge. Contact between the experiencer and the experienced gives rise to experiencer. In other words, I find myself to be the subject. I am a subject, and constantly I, the subject, is encountering, is meeting with some objects and thereby having some knowledge or some experience. We can go a little further by saying all the experiences that I have, the very experiencer always wants to experience only those objects which bring about happy experience, which brings about experience of peace, experience of comfort, etc. That's all it is, and wants to get rid of any experience which can bring me unhappiness, which can give me displeasure that I don't want. Now, since I find myself to be the subject, since I find myself to be the experiencer, you can go a little further in categorizing what are experienced or what are known. There are two types of objects. One, there are two. One, it is known to me, object that I experience them, and there are few unknown to me also. In the Shastric language, known objects are called viditam, Known object is viditam, unknown object is aviditam. So there is always a knower, gnata, some objects are and everything else is gneyam, and there are viditam gneyam, aviditam, there are known and unknown. And this, I being a subject, everything else being an object, subject means I, subject means Atma, that means everything else that is experienced is all Anatma. That means not Atma. That is why we have Vakya. In Kena Upanishad it says, Anyadeva viditat atho aviditat adhi. It is different from known and it is beyond unknown. And because I am not the object, I am the very subject for whom all objective knowledge takes place. I am the knower. I am the subject. I am the experiencer. And other than me, we can call it Anatma. Other than me, we can call it Jagat. Is something which is experienced, which is known, which is object. This is clear. I am subject and the world is object. When I say this, I am subject and the world is object, that also clarifies one more thing. World is I, the subject in Sanskrit, Atma. The world is Anatma. And that Anatma is not Atma. That means the world I am not. The known world also I am not, and the unknown world also I am not. This conclusion that I am distinct from what I know, this conclusion I am separate from what I experience in the life is very. I am the knower, distinct from the world. Even a traditional example, the pot. Modern example, the computer, the mobile, the them is I. They are part of the world, and that being the part of the world, they are not I. That I know very well. I don't need to be taught anything about this. I need not be taught informed. I know. I have a clear line of division, clear demarcation between what, this division between I and not I, Atma and Anatma, self and non-self, between known and between the knower and the known, between the experiencer and experienced. I may have certain special relationship with the experienced, like my mother, my father, my cousin, my sister, etc. I may have a special relationship, or my car, or mobile, this particular mobile, this particular house, this particular friend of mine. I have special relationships, and they may be very much dear to me also. That is fine, but never ever I have a confusion with them that they are I. Okay? I am very clear that none of them is me. Okay, the line of demarcation. So that Atma, the self is self, and non-self is non-self. In other words, Anatma is never taken as Atma, and Atma is never taken as Anatma. Simple example, I never take myself to be mobile. I never take myself to be the car. I never take myself to be shirt. I never take myself to be wife or husband, the spouse. Never take myself to be brother. You know why? The demarcation, division is there. Where is the demarcation? Where is the division? As of now, listen this carefully. As of now, the dividing line, demarcating line runs through the perimeter of the body. It runs up to my dermis. It runs up to my skin only, not beyond. Anything beyond the skin, anything beyond my dermis is anatma, that is clear. Okay? That is very clear. And never ever I confuse between this. Now, this is a line between Atma and Atma. This is a line between me and the world. That physical body is a boundary. Everything else beyond physical body is an Atma. The question comes, that is where the confusion is. Is that line that I have drawn, is it proper, or I have encroached upon something which really doesn't belong to me? Like a typical Indian thinking, some farmers and some people always, they often, we read in the newspaper, they have encroached the government land. They encroach someone else's property. And therefore then finally the corporation or the government agencies will come, demolish the whole buildings and things like that which were encroached, and ultimately give them the correct line of division. So what I consider as subject, it is the subject, or there in that subject is there some object mixed up? And the answer is the confusion or mixing up is universal. And that being a case, you need a third person, a person who is not confused, the person who is apta to tell you, show you the confusion. How it is? If it is simple, look at this. Each limb of the body is referred as mind. Okay? Each limb of the body. And I know also each of the limbs. As I said earlier, I find myself to be the knower. And I operate certain means of knowledge and know certain objects, they become known. In other words, I find myself to be pramata, and there are some objects which I know are knowable, prameya, through the means of knowledge, pramana, technically called as pramana vyapar. When I employ the means of knowledge, then I know that object is. When I open the eyes and see, oh, my phone is here. When I open the ears, when I wake up from the sleep, when I hear the sound, then I know there is some marriage going on, and therefore they are playing songs and music on the microphone, which I overhear. So the point is, when something becomes known to me through the means of knowledge, then I say that object is. The existence of an object is proven to me when I operate a given means of knowledge and gain that knowledge about an object. This is true. Thus, anything that exists for me, it is something which is known. Anything which doesn't exist for unknown. Now look at this. The body, every child, when a 2-year, 3-year-old baby, when mother is giving lesson, she will show her hand and ask him, what is this? Put a hand on the head, and the mother will ask. The baby says, this is my head. She will put the hands in the ear. What is this? Baby says, these are my ears. What is this? The baby says, these are my eyes. What is this? Baby says, this is my nose. but then shows the lips. These are my lips. This is my chin. This is my trunk. These are my hand. These are my leg. Each limb of the body is referred as mine. We know this. There is a special relationship. It is known and it is referred as mine. I told you earlier, there are few known objects enjoy a special relationship with me. I see a car on the road. It is known car. But this particular car also I see, it is also known car. But I say it is my car. This is my phone. That is a special relationship. So I may have special relationship with the limbs of the body. By which I say, this is my hand, this is my legs, this is my head, this is my trunk. That means in Sanskrit, each limb of the body is an object of knowledge. And that being a case, idam pratyaya vishaya, it is referred as these. These are my ears. These are my eyes. This is my nose. This is my head. This is my tummy. That's all mother makes the baby to repeat. That means on each limb of the body, I have this sense from childhood. Having had a special relationship, you say mine. That's okay. And then therefore, having grown up, when you go to a doctor, you say, doctor, my stomach has some pain. There is a stomach pain. My legs are aching. You say this. My eyes don't see properly. My head have a lot of aches. I'm not comfortable. All that you say. That means that there is this sense in the limbs. That in which I have this sense, that in which object upon which I have my sense, how can it be I? My mobile cannot be I mobile. My car cannot be I am car. So also my hands, my legs, my body cannot be me, the body. So I may have intimacy with each limb of the body. May have sense of ownership. That is okay. And that sense doesn't extend beyond the body. That is also fine, beyond the dermis. I never claim that somebody's hand as a my hand, somebody's legs as a my legs. I know it is mine, but then it is these. It is known just as objects of the world are known and therefore not I, so also the body and its limbs are known. In spite of being known, the confusion happens. I am the body. The body is taken as me. Though it is said I am tall, I am short, I am male, I am female, I am black, I am white, all that is it. But then somehow, ultimately it is known. That means this line of demarcation, line of division, line of partition between Atma and Anatma, which ran through the dermis, up to that, up to the skin. Now we have to rethink, we have to know where to draw this line between Atma and non-Atma. Where does the Anatma begin? We thought the Anatma begin beyond body. But now we discover even the body is also Anatma. It is an object of the body, object of knowledge, and therefore I cannot say that I extends only up to dermis and then not beyond that. This physical body including dharmis, etc., is an object of knowledge and therefore not I. We have to draw a new line of demarcation. We have to stop somewhere. We extended our line beyond what I am actually, and that demarcation line is, we say, we have to bring it back. We have to make it shorten. We have to not extend it. Let not with that encroachment have to be removed in I. What kind of encroachment? Body sense is an encroachment upon anatma. Like people encroach upon the government land, here I have encroached on anatma by claiming I am body. So also there is a claim, I am prana. Nobody says specifically, but I am hungry, I am thirsty, etc. So that means that I has to further shrink. It was expanded, it was bloated I, it needs to be shrink, it has to be cut to size, remove the size of the body which is there on I. Now we have to remove the size of the prana also. So this I needs to shrink from anatomy to physiology also, which pranas does the function of physiology. And it has to shrink further. That is analysis. What kind of analysis? Look at this further. What further? I am not the senses as well, because I am aware of the status of my eyes. I am aware of status of my ears. I see whether my eye sees or not. As I know that my perception is clear, my seeing capacity is clear, I can read the board and I see that I don't see as well. When the eyes can't see properly, I say, I think everything is blurred, everything looks hazy to me, etc. We say. So what does it mean? That means the sense organs are also seen. Sense organ seems to be instrumental, and then the line between Atma and Anatma, between I and non-I, we shrunk it little step, we withdrew it one step backwards. That body belongs to Anatma. So body from Atma side, it was moved to Anatma. Now we have to shrink it further, that it has to shrink from not only body level, senses level as well. I am not that. With reference to emotions also. There are emotions of love, anger, like, dislike, jealousy, compassion, etc. Now all these emotions I come across, these memories I have, and cognitions I have, some cognitions of sweetness, some cognition of goodness, some cognition of some love and compassion I see. And I have sometimes the cognition of unpleasant things, cognition of something unwanted things. All these, please understand, memory or this cognitions of emotions. Either there is a cognition of emotion because of the factual experiences which you have now, or maybe because of the past experiences, or maybe because of your imaginations of the future plans. Whatever that there may be emotions, but then in all these emotions, which are nothing but a mental state, which are nothing but a mental conclusion, about them, I am aware of these. They are known to me. That is why we say, I am not in mood. How do you know that you are not in mood? They sometimes say to children, now behave yourself, don't get me angry, as though they are going to make you angry. That means that what point is I have a lot of anger within myself. Please leave me alone so that that anger do not burst out. Okay, anyway, coming back to this. So, all these emotions, I cannot exclude. Further, when I perceive an object, when I operate, let's say, eyes as a means of knowledge and see a flower, then this seeing a flower, eyes coming in contact with the flower, gives rise to a particular thought form called as vritti vishesha. Okay? This vritti vishesha makes the object known. Until then, it is unknown. And this change or a vritti is often keeping in view or keeping in line with the sight provided by sense organs. Eyes provided this vision, it's a white tablecloth, then there is a corresponding vritti vishesha in the mind, and this information is converted into vritti vishesha. In that vritti vishesha, I know this, and therefore I say, I am the knower, I am the ruler of the house, because I have to do this. These are all vritti vishesha that goes in the mind. I rule this office, I rule this home, I have to do this. That's one kind of happiness, one kind of ego satisfaction, we can call it. But generally, Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasatmaka Vrittayaha arise. And by the way, we don't see the object per se. We see the vritti, the thought modification. And having seen that, you say, the object lying in front of me is white or black or red or yellow or something to be eaten or something to be seen or something to be heard, whatever. But that vritti vishesha is took place. Often, mind assumes that form true to the object, but sometimes it is that vritti vishesha becomes blurred and you feel there is a snake in front of me called Rajju Sarpa. And when we see that vritti vishesha, though I am appearing to be seeing an object outside me, but when I see this object is snake, that is my vritti vishesha from there. Okay? So I see object inside, and then, which is why I say, I see the snake in place of rope. I see the object inside, and then claim that external object is this. Okay, but then this vritti vishesha is also known to me because I saw that. Just as I see the table, just as I see the car, I saw that vritti vishesha of the particular color, particular thing to be eaten, particular music, etc. And then I see this. Therefore, all the cognitions is not me. The knowledge that takes place, variety of knowledge, Vishaya Jnanam, is not me. Much less, emotions are also not me. Love, anger, compassion, frustration, pain are often, are what? Are often what? Vritti Visheshas. And that being the case, I am different from those Vritti Vishesha. I am neither mind nor intellect, So, what does this discussion mean? With reference to love, anger, etc., are known to me, therefore I am not there. Memories and cognitions, all are mental activities. I am conscious of their activities, so they cannot be me. Then what I can be? That is why he says, you know what we have seen so far? This emotions and body, and we negate it. Time, place are also excluded because they are non-I. And then that is called neti neti vachanaihi nigamaha avochuhu. There is a naiti, naiti. This is not, this is not. Okay? This, we are again not negating anything. We just are negating the erroneous thinking about the reality of the thing. Okay? Not positive thinking or negative thinking. We are talking of reality. So, what we refer as this object can be said to be object of consciousness. It is an object of me, the consciousness, like even pen consciousness, mobile consciousness, home consciousness, and that can be seen by me. Sound consciousness, smell consciousness, color consciousness, or all of them I experience. But then the consciousness is invariable. In the body consciousness, there is I consciousness. In the mind consciousness, there is I consciousness. In the hunger consciousness, means prana consciousness, there is I consciousness. Emotion consciousness, there is I consciousness. Cognitive consciousness, knowledge consciousness, there is I. And there is one word for consciousness. You might have heard samvit. So, the samvit is there in all other perceptions, all other knowledge, and that is the truth of self. Now the question comes, now, can this consciousness be my object of knowledge? Or can I be the experiencer, the object of knowledge? What does it mean by Satchidananda? How can I be Satchidananda? There is a simple answer. What it is? What do I want in life? I want that which is natural to me. What it is? Like the hot water. When the water is boiled in a temperature on a gas, it becomes hot, 100-degree temperature. Now that water gives up the heat till it comes to natural room temperature. That the state of that water to be 100 degree Celsius is against its nature, therefore it wants to get rid of it. So also, just as the water, heated water wants to get rid of the heat, I want to get rid of unhappiness. I want to get rid of limitations of time. I want to get rid of my limitations of buddhi, that I know only this much. I want everything to be limitless. I don't want to die. I want to live and live forever. I want to know and know everything, anything in this world. I want to be happy and no iota of dukkham that I want. All the time I want to be happy. This itself proves that I am Satchit Anand. Okay? By the further discussions, we shall see that discussions in the next class. I am in Toronto and I have to go somewhere, so we'll see later.
Yeah, if you want.
Om
That's not
Purnamada
what the instructions say.
Purnamidam
Put this on the wall, and then the
Purnamudachyate
transformer will be in the wall to the left,
Purnasya
and then the wires,
Purnamadhaya
and then the wires go both
Purnamevavashishyate.
Avashishyate.
Om
So that's the
Shanti
description.
Shanti,
Shanti
Shanti,
Shanti.
Well,
Shanti.
that's the normal system.
Hari